Okay guys, welcome to my bulking blueprint and how to gain your first £5 for a beginner. What I'm going to do in this video is run you through how to set up a productive gain, a productive bulk, so you can build lean muscle and how to do it properly. I'm going to show you how I should have done it when I very first started. If you're new here, bearing in mind I've done 12 natural bodybuilding competitions. I've made it into the top 4 in the whole of the UK. I know what I'm doing here and I know exactly what I need to tell you, okay? I've done 15 bulks maybe. So trust me, trial and error, everything I'm showing you now is everything I should have known back then, which would have made me make so much more progress. Everything I'm about to show you, if I could go back in time in a time machine and speak to myself, I would have made phenomenal progress, and it would have been a steady push up as well. My progress in my earlier phases was like this, like trial and error, like stop, start, figuring stuff out on my own, no coach, no help. If I would have known this, my progress would have been bomb, just skyrocketed up. So make sure you've got a pen and paper ready, you're ready to take notes. I'm about to give you the biggest hack ever, okay? Now, before we get stuck into all of this, one important thing that I want to go over, I've got 2 pens here, I should probably have one. Before you go into a bulk gain, whatever it is, biggest thing I see with clients is the mindset, right? You can see in my Instagram profile, mindset is one of the most important things. Before you go into a gaining phase, you have to go through a mindset shift. You have to mentally prepare yourself for what you're about to do and remove any negativity from your mind. As people, we condition ourselves to think certain things about we condition ourselves to think about certain situations before they even happen, and we build this thing up in our head. And some of these things are this. A lot of people think before they go into a bulk, whether this is before they've done it or they've trialed and errored before and they've built up a bad relationship with it, they build up a mindset. These are some of the biggest struggles that I see with people, right? They suffer with bloating, or they think they're going to be bloated. They think it involves forcing food. You need to get fat to put weight on. You're scared of getting too big. It makes me laugh because I've been trying to get too big for 15 years. It never happens. I'm still not big enough. Bodybuilding, don't want to eat like a bodybuilder, but you want to put on lean muscle, but you don't want to eat like a bodybuilder. I get it, that's the most common one. Can't eat that much food, which goes into forcing food and unsustainable. These are the most common things that guys tell themselves. I can't eat that much food, it's impractical, I don't want to be a bodybuilder, I don't want to train like this, I don't want to get too big, I don't want to get too fat. This is chaotic mindset, okay? So you need to flip your mindset from this to this. This is what you need to think before going into a gaining phase, so it's as productive and as positive as possible, okay? You want to have full control of your digestion. You are going to have full control of your digestion. You're going to have a sustainable appetite, so you're always going to be able to eat. You're not going to gain any unnecessary body fat with the right formula, which is what I'm going to walk you through. You are going to build lean muscle. You are going to have structure and practicality, so it's sustainable. You are going to become a master of all of this. Self-mastery, mindset, physique, performance. You have to go from this scarcity, chaos mindset to complete confidence and self-mastery so you can execute this perfectly. If you can't go through that mindset shift first, before even starting this, you're going to crash and burn, you're going to fail. Because anytime you hit a sticking point where you need to make an adjustment, you're going to come straight back to this, which is a failure mindset, okay? There is always a problem to a solution. The people with this mindset never find a solution. They just go, I can't do it. I give up. It's too hard, can't do it, can't train hard enough, can't eat food, they give up. This is a weak mindset. You want a strong mindset, you want to become a master, self-mastery. Every problem has a solution. You can figure it out. You've got the system, you've got the formula. So before we go through this, mindset shift, okay? Now, let me walk you through what we're actually going to do here. Before I explain this, I'll need to explain this, which I've done in my previous video, but if you're new here and you're looking to bulk, you might not have watched that. So this is your nutrition plan. This is the branch of a tree. This represents your nutrition. This represents your timeline of the day. This is the starting point of the day. This is the end of the day. Each branch represents a meal, okay? Why? Because this keeps structure and organization in place. What does a branch do? It has little branches coming off it like this, doesn't it? When you have a meal, come off on a branch like this, you return back to the original branch and then you carry on and you walk to the very end, and then that's your day done. I like analogies, mate. This helps me. When I think about stuff like this, it helps me, which is why I'm saying it like this. The mistake people make and why people crash and burn, especially on a bulk, they'll be following their branch, like, right, I'm on my bulk. They'll go off on a branch, they'll have a meal, but they'll have something they're not meant to have, or they'll have too much food, and they'll fall off the branch and they'll end up starting here. Go back to the start and they start again, and every single day is a vicious cycle of starting the day, falling off a branch, going to the next day and starting, and they never make it to the end of the day successfully. That is lack of consistency and lack of discipline, okay? We have elite standards down here. This is no standards. So this is the structure, the skeleton of your nutrition plan, okay? I was making me laugh yesterday because I was telling my mates one about it, who's a coach as well, and he said he called it the tree of life. He's joking, but I actually quite like that, so that's maybe something I'll do in the next video. But keep this in mind as we walk through this, okay? Now, I'm going to base this off you watching this being a 200-pound male, but it doesn't matter what you are, because I'm going to give you the formula. Whether you're 160 pound, 170, 80, 90, 200, you're probably going to be under the 200-pound mark if you're trying to pack on lean muscle, you're trying to pack on size. I'm 216 now, I'm 6 foot, I've been training for 15 years, so it's highly likely you're going to be under 2 pound, under 200. If you're over 200, watch my fat loss video. You've got a body fat to lose before you go into this, okay? So, on that subject, before you go into this, you should have relatively low body fat. If you've not, you need to go back to my fat loss video, execute that and clean up your physique first before doing this, okay? Now, 200-pound male, what are the macros for starting a gaining phase? Your macros need to start off neutral. It's the same with the fat loss phase as well. Why do we start off neutral? This is the neutral position, right? If you start down here like in a deficit, you're going to be hungry, your appetite's going to be off. If you start too high here in a surplus, you try and get ahead of the game, your digestion's going to be ruined, your appetite's going to be messed up. You're not going to be able to get food down. You're going too far too quick. If you start neutral, it's a good baseline to adjust from either way, okay? So these macros are going to be your neutral macros, so you can perform well in the gym. Your appetite's in a good position, you've got plenty of energy, you're going to be satiated, and you've got plenty of food, plenty of protein for recovery, okay? So, 200-pound male, get a pen and paper ready, start making notes on this. Pause this as I go through it, make notes. This is the most important part. Carbohydrate intake. We want to be having 2 grams of carbohydrates per pound of current body weight. So 400 gram for a 200-pound male. That's 1600 calories because there's 4 calories in 1 gram of carbohydrates, okay? Fat intake, 0.3 gram per pound of body weight, which is 60 gram for a 200-pound male, and 540 calories because there's 9 calories in 1 gram of fat, okay? Protein, 200 gram, because it's 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, okay? And that's 800 calories because there's 4 calories in 1 gram of protein, which is a total of 2,940 calories as your starting point, okay? You could be watching this now and argue, say, it's too many carbs, it's too many calories, that. But from experience, having a little bit too many carbohydrates is a good position to start, because if you are a little over, you can pull back a little bit, but your training performance is still going to be good. You don't want to go into the gym when you're trying to pack on muscle, pack on size, and your first week is one where you're under eating and you think, oh, this is crap, I'm not strong. You know, you want to feel good, you want to get in there in a good position. This is what I recommend, 2 grams of carbs per pound of body weight, okay? Fats, 60 gram is a good position to keep you satiated and keep calories in a good position, so your appetite is going to be a good spot. Protein, 1 gram per pound of body weight. If you were coming to me and you were a little bit more advanced and you had a muscle already, experience, I would push that number up to 1.5 to 2 gram. But this is someone who's looking to bulk for the first time, okay? So start off with a gram. Later down the line, when you've built more muscle, you've built more size, then you can push that number up. I personally have 1.75 gram, between 1.5 and 1.7 gram, depending on what I'm doing. Okay, so they are your starting point macros. So now, how do we start to gain? How do we start putting muscle on? How do we track that? What adjustments do we make? What's the formula? Okay, before we do that, let's talk about the setup, the metrics, and I'll come to the tools after. So the setup, once you have your nutrition in place, 4 to 5 training sessions, weights, okay? I recommend doing push, pull, legs, delts and arms, that's 4 sessions. If you've got time to do 5, push, pull, legs, delts, arms separate. So those sessions are shorter but more intense, okay? This is what I recommend. You can do 3 push, pull, legs, but the reality is if you're training less, that timeline is going to stretch out for you building muscle because you're training less, okay? 4 to 5 sessions is a really good position to be in. I've got clients on 4 sessions who are absolutely killing it. I've got people on 5 who are killing it. I've got people on 3 who are killing it, but their timeline is longer, okay? They're a lot busier. 10K steps, movement, 10 to 15 minute walk in the morning, 10 to 15 minute walk before bed, or accumulate the rest through the day, depending on how active you are. If you're very sedentary, walk in the morning, walk in the evening, walk around lunchtime. Just move whenever you can. 15 minutes of cardio, 120 BPM post-workout. So if you're doing 4 sessions. If you're doing 5 sessions, it's going to be 5 cardio sessions, okay? Do not change this setup. Do not change it. Once that is locked in place, keep it in place. This setup will see you all the way through the first 60% of your gain, as long as your nutrition is set up like this. I promise you that now, okay? Metrics and KPIs, key performance indicators. What do we need to track as we're going through a bulk, through a gaining phase, to make sure we're actually being productive and seeing progress, okay? Scale weight, most important one. You want to track your scale weight every single morning. I've got my own scale weight up here. I track it every single morning. Visuals, what do you look like? Are you seeing changes? Do you look a little bit fuller? Can you see a little bit more size? Are you more pumped? Visuals alongside scale weight. Personally, what I do and what clients do, wake up in the morning, weigh yourself on the scales, mirror check, what can I see? Maybe send a check-in across to your coach, check-in across to me, and then crack on with the day then. Performance. What's your training like in the gym? Are you getting stronger? Are your pumps better? Do you feel better? As you're going through a gain or a bulk, you should be feeling that aggression. You should feel your testosterone rising. You should feel good. You should be in the gym, like growl. You should feel it. You should feel your performance improving as your food's going up, which I'll describe in a minute. Appetite, digestion. You need to monitor your appetite and your digestion. Is your digestive system working efficiently? Is your appetite where it needs to be? Are you hungry? Are you getting all of your meals down when you should be? Do you want to eat your meals when it's time to eat them? Or are you sat at the table having your pre-workout meal balking? Are you bloated, digestive, going to the toilet 4 or 5 times a day? Bad position, but a metric we need to track, okay? Now we know the setups and the metrics that we need to track. How do we start gaining muscle? How do we start gaining size, okay? What is the blueprint? This is your starting point. 2,940 calories, which is 400 carbs, 60 fat, 200 protein. This is your nutrition plan. Your skeleton plan is in place with all of your meals, okay? You want to get into the sweet spot. What is the sweet spot? The sweet spot is where you're gaining 0.5 pound to 1 pound per week. We have that flexibility window because you're never going to gain the perfect pound every single week. Maybe you can a few weeks, but there's going to be fluctuations depending on what you eat, drink, sleep, rest, recovery. It's going to fluctuate a little bit. Around the 0.5 pound is a good position to be. If you do 20 weeks of a gain and you put 10 pound lean on, you're going to look a lot different, okay? Not all of that is going to be muscle, but it's going to put you in a good position where you've built a decent amount of size. You can put 2 pound on per week in 20 weeks, but if you put 40 pound on in 20 weeks, if you're natural, you're going to be fat. Sorry, but you are. I've done this from previous experience. I've chased the scales, been like, yes, I've hit my target. I got up to 232 pound. I looked in the mirror, I was pretty fat. I was slow, I was struggling to eat. My fitness wasn't that good. It wasn't a good position to be in. So don't get obsessed with the scale weight. Use this as a metric alongside your visuals. As this weight's going up and you're approaching the sweet spot, is your performance good? Do you look good? What's your appetite and your digestion like? Make sure you track everything accordingly, okay? How do we get into this position? We adjust carbs up 25 to 50 gram each time / week when appetite is at its highest. My recommendation, once a week. Take it nice and slow. It's not a rush. Building muscle is a marathon, not a sprint. Remember that. I've been doing this 15 years, okay? The slower you go, the better. Assess your progress at the end of the week. So once you've got a week's worth of scale weights, you know what you look like, you know what your performance is like, you know what your appetite digestion is like. You've done 5 training sessions, 10K steps per day, 15 minutes of cardio. At the end of the week on a Sunday, assess your metrics and KPIs and be like, right, let's say I've been 200 pound all week. I've not put any weight on and my performance feels pretty much the same. Carbohydrates up 25 to 50 gram. Go again the next week. Maybe you put 0.25 pound on. Okay, that worked. Let's put another 50 gram in. Oh, 0.75 or 1 pound has gone on. What you've done there is put yourself into the sweet spot, into the groove, using metrics and KPIs, keeping the current setup in place and making sure everything is perfect using this formula. Important here, you make these adjustments when your appetite's the highest. Through a bulk, through a gain, you're going to get the most out of it when you put food when you're hungriest. It doesn't make sense to put more food when your appetite is at its lowest. If you wake up, you have breakfast and you struggle to eat it, why would you bump that up? You're going to make it more difficult. What I recommend doing is what I do with my clients and what I do with myself is start increasing your food around the training window. That's when your body needs the most amount of food. That's when your appetite is going to be the highest, okay? Before training, after training, fill that up. Say this is your training session here. This is the morning. This is the evening. Start filling up either side like this and work your way to AM to PM away from your training session. That is going to be the most productive time to put food in because you're hungriest. You come home from the gym, what's the first thing you want to do? Eat. You're starving, okay? So that makes sense, doesn't it, to put carbohydrates in there. Biggest mistake I did when I was younger was just trying to eat as much as possible without taking any of this into consideration. Appetite, digestion, what I looked like visually. I could see myself getting bloated. I could feel my appetite diminishing and my digestion being affected, but I didn't care. I just kept eating and I just crashed and burned, okay? Putting your digestive system under a lot of stress can put you in a position where you just accumulate a lot of fatigue as well. Your body's working too hard. You've got to slowly work up in small increments, 25 to 50 gram. Don't bump your carbohydrates up like 300 to 400 gram in one day. It's not going to work. You might get a pump for one day, but then you're going to spill over, you're going to get fat, soft and weak, and you're going to retain a lot of water. Not a good position to be, trust me. Okay, so bringing me on to tools. What are tools? When you start a gaining phase, when you start a bulk, you want to start with a toolbox. Inside that toolbox are loads of tools that you can utilize and deploy when you hit a sticking point, okay? But you only use them as and when you need them. One of the tools is cardio. If your appetite starts to diminish, you're struggling to eat food, create more demand for that food by increasing your cardio from 15 to 20, 25 to 30, maybe 40, but later down the line, okay? It's also to keep yourself fit. You want to be fit as you're putting size on. You don't want to be a big breathless lump. 120 BPM, big deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. It's going to keep you in a good position. Steps. Make sure you're moving. If you're trying to eat a large amount of food, you're increasing your carbohydrates 50 gram per week. In 10 weeks time, if you're not moving, you're going to be pretty sluggish. Your appetite's going to be affected. Make sure that you keep moving and you keep up with your 10K steps. Biggest one, the biggest one, I want to reinforce this, okay? Training intensity. You can have this formula, you can have the right setup, you can track the metrics and the KPI, you can have the right macros, the nutrition, the right mindset. If you are not training hard enough, I promise you now, you will not put on muscle. You will be affected. Your bulk will not be productive. If you're not creating the demand for more food, you're not putting your body in a position where it needs to recover. You know, that muscle is damaged and it needs to repair. If you're not training hard enough, your body is not going to give you the signal of I need more food. So your appetite's going to be low, okay? See it all the time. People bulking, documenting their bulk. You see them in the gym, and they're training like this. Chest press. And documenting bulk. Nothing's happening. You're not building any muscle. You're not creating the demand for this. Training intensity is you telling your body, give me more food. I need more fuel. I need to recover. You have absolutely destroyed me. And you repeat that process. If you're not getting that signal, the appetite isn't there. Your appetite, your intensity, it's not good enough. Hours awake. Let's use the branch of a tree. AM, PM. What you do in these hours is your standards, okay? It's your discipline. If you don't utilize the hours you're awake properly, you are going to be seriously affected. This is why it's a tool. Before you look at cardio, steps, intensity, or all of this stuff, look at the hours that you're awake first. If you're struggling with your appetite, what's your day look like? Are you eating your meals at the right time? Are you spacing your meals out? Are you hydrated? Are you having enough water? Are you giving your body enough time to digest this food? If you're someone who normally wakes up at 6 and then you have a few lazy days and you get up at 9, that's 3 hours less in the day, less time to eat food, less time for digestion. It's going to affect everything. So this is a tool that you need to look at, okay? So we've gone over the setup of what we need to do, the metrics and KPI that we need to check, the tools that we can deploy, the rate of gain 0.5 to 1 pound per week, how much and how many carbohydrates we need to increase, 25 to 50 gram. And we also know that we need to go through a big mindset shift and switch to self-mastery, positive thoughts rather than negative and chaos mindset, okay? That is the blueprint for a productive bulk. If I could go back in time and teach myself this, my training would have been so much better. I would have had a steady progression up. I would have had a much better relationship with food. I would have looked better. I would have performed better. My pumps would have been better. Digestion would have been good. Appetite would have been good. I literally wouldn't have hit any sticking points if I knew this. So if you're a new guy and you're watching this, trust me, this is the formula, okay? Last thing I want to go over, sustainability, structure and practicality. One of the biggest things going through a bulk is enjoying your food. So let's use breakfast for example here. You've got 4 different meal options you can have, providing the macros are the same. You can have 4 meals here as long as your carbs are 150, your fats are 20 and your proteins are 60, and it's a clean, nutritious food that your body's going to still be able to digest and utilize properly, okay? Not crap. Having 3 to 4 different meal options per meal is going to keep your nutrition nice and exciting and give you plenty of stuff to rotate between. When you're eating large amounts of food, you want to look forward to it. You want to have stuff that you can rotate. I personally rotate between different carbs. For example, potato is quite difficult to eat, but I enjoy eating it. But after a few days, a few weeks, I think, it's quite hard. It can be quite dry. So I'll move from that to jasmine rice, really wet, sticky jasmine rice. It's easier to digest. And I'll have that with a bit of banana as well. It's a lot easier to eat compared to potato. So have some things that are easy to rotate between. I'll do a separate video on food selection and stuff, but for now, this is the blueprint of a bulk, okay? What I would do now is go back over this video, get your pen and paper and note down all of the necessary things that you need. How to figure out your macros, what grams to have, what setup, how are you going to do that, what metrics and KPIs are you going to check, what tools are you going to deploy, what are your calories, what are your carbs, when are you going to make adjustments. And the most important one, write down the negative thoughts you have about bulk, a gaining phase. Write down all of the stuff, all of the struggles, all of the things in your brain that you think, I'm not going to be able to do this. Then next to it, write a solution. So if you're struggling with bloating, you would write next to it, nope, I'm going to have controlled digestion. Problem, solution, yeah? There is a solution to every single problem. When you have precision planning, which is what we've just done, elite standards, which is your skeleton plan, your setup, your metrics and KPIs and your tools, elite standards, you get a predictable outcome. Precision planning, elite standards, predictable outcome. That is how we get results, okay? I hope you enjoyed this video. I've hoped you enjoyed this video. This is me giving you as much information as possible. I hope you enjoyed this video. I promise you, if you stick to this, you will get results, okay? If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. If you have any feedback, leave it in the comments. If you want me to do anything else, leave it in the comments. I'm going to be running you through plenty of other videos coming up. More about setup, more about KPI, more about tools, more about mindset, building nutrition, building nutrition based on these macros. Lots of educational stuff to come up, okay? Lastly, if you want to be a part of a community full of other people going through this in the early stages, you want to be surrounded by other people, you want free information, free tutorials, and you want access to me for one-to-one questions completely free, I am running a free Telegram group where you can drop your question in there. Maybe you can put some pictures of your nutrition, something you're struggling with, your training, I'll get back to you the same day, okay? I will put the link to my Telegram group in the description. You can join. It's completely free. It's just to help you guys as much as possible, okay? I'll see you in the next one.